You must be sick with remorse. The Lions were happily skipping along, doing their thing, and then you declared your undying love for them, and bang, a loss at Ellis Park. Warren Whiteley's not angry, he's just disappointed. The Lions killer is Tank Lanning. I'm Zelim Nel. This is Think Tank powered by Vodacom. Fortunately for you, they weren't the only South African side to lose. Every South African side lost. A dark day for South Africa this over the weekend.
Yes, can we just play that clip? You remember we took abuse for calling him these dark times?
Dark days, you were spot on.
Yeah, revamp.
Yeah, well, listen, some incendiary refereeing at the weekend as well.
Just unbelievable. I mean, Rowan Hoffman's saying that there's half-time and then they kick it out.
They got half-time.
No way, I was only joking. No, it's just out of control. And I think, there was a lot of vitriol. And my two takeouts of that was that people are getting very irritated. There were a lot of tweets about saying, well, listen, I just can't watch this. I'm not going to give up my Saturday to watch incompetent fools manage a game. And I think that's what we saw on Saturday. It's perhaps some mitigation in terms of, it's a bloody difficult game to referee. But I think, it's a professional game. Players are now, their lives depend on decisions made by one person.
Yep.
And I think how they get rated must be done publicly. And I think that if they have a poor game like Hoffman had, there must be something in the public domain. They can't be sacrosanct and wrapped in cotton wool. This is a professional game, it's a public game. Let's rate them publicly.
Yeah, well, for me, Hoffman shows way too much thigh. Those shorts are way too high for me. Him and Glenn Jackson have been bumped down to assistant referee status this weekend coming. So I don't know whether that's a sanction against them at all, but we'll never really know. They're not going to divulge what goes on behind the scenes.
No, we're not. And I think, just further to my point, that's what we need, Players get a dressing down in the public, be it through the media, through you, in your columns every week. But the refs kind of just, as I say, get wrapped in cotton wool. Let's just do something publicly. It's not about denigrating them as people. It's just about making it open and public.
If only we had a law book, Tank. If only we had a law book. Hey!
Manna from heaven.
If only we had hot coffee and donuts. No. Okay, well, listen, the point I'm trying to make with the law book here, Tank, is that a lot of the stuff that these refs are blowing is not in this book. This whole, the ball, your hands must be traveling backwards when the ball comes out, this changing lanes, none of that is in this book. So what are they basing their decisions on?
Yeah, no, very, very pertinent point. And also, to further to that, why do you need this for a game of rugby? It's a simple game, You pass backwards, you can kick forwards, score tries.
Yeah.
And I just, to my point earlier, I think, referees have a tough time of it. It is an overly complex game, made more complex by the lawmakers.
Yeah.
Plus, throw in your point about it's now left to interpretation. So the driving maul, the scrums, whether it's a forward or backward pass, throw in the TMO rulings. It looks like they're viewing things on their cell phone screen. Do they not have a big screen?
Yeah.
It's just abysmal, the decisions they're making. So I think, like I said last week, in terms of what are we doing with the scrums, let's try and simplify them.
Yep.
In fact, let's try and simplify the whole game. Let's try and make it objective because, you're getting a single person's subjective interpretation of how rules should be implemented.
Yeah.
And that is where the game is coming completely unstuck.
Yeah, in this last round, I literally saw more forward passes than I saw in the Super Bowl. I think Jan Safontein scored after a forward pass to Bjorn Basson. It's getting silly now.
Yeah, it is. And it's such a sacrosanct part of the game. It's the one thing that you do that is different to any other sport. Pass the bloody thing backwards.
Yeah.
But not where your hands are going. Pass it backwards.
Exactly.
It's not complex.
I can't believe that's even a talking point. What is the forward pass?
Yeah,
well, anyway, listen, apparently they've had a big discussion at a very high level about changing the laws in a radical way instead of sort of evolving them. They're talking about a revolutionary change. What are some of the changes that you think you'd like to see?
Yes, I see that, and they even invited Steve Hansen, which is nice. It's a real person who's actually involved in the game. Yeah, so a couple of things that I would, the three biggies are the breakdown, the maul, and the scrum. So last week we spoke about the scrum and the things that I would implement. So, let's move away from that. We also spoke about the driving maul. We simply can't have that as part of the game. It's legalized obstruction. Let's do something about it. Either you have to carry it at the front, or you can drop it. And then the breakdown, coming through the gates, landing airplanes, lifting airplanes.
Chicken wings.
Yeah, chicken wings, show me some air. Perhaps we bring back some shoe pie, let's allow racking.
Absolutely.
You'll get out of there pretty quickly.
Yes.
Is it such a sin if you come in from the wrong angle? Let's find ways to simplify that. And then the other thing, we've just simply got to find a way to give guys more space in attack. So, cricket have been, I'm not suggesting we move towards cricket, but they've been quite good in terms of they implement strange rules.
Yeah.
Like the 5-over power play, certain players inside a certain ring. I mean, perhaps there's ways that we can make the defence stand a little bit further back, like you've got to be 5 metres back from a scrum. Perhaps we make that distance a bit bigger. Let's find ways for the fatties to be stuck in a scrum or in a certain part of the game to allow the lighties to pass the ball outside. So I think that's the kind of direction we should be going with this game.
So Tank, talking about this last weekend, 4 losses for South African sides. Obviously the Stormers had a bye. It doesn't bode well in a World Cup year. Our tweet of the week comes from Dominic Ward. And his question relates to, does Super Rugby form translate to World Cup success? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, we've mentioned it a few times on the show. I don't think so. I think Super Rugby is much more get the ball in the air, basketball kind of rugby, whereas Rugby World Cups, as Jake said, are won on defence. That said, it's interesting, in 2007, 2 SS sides in the final.
Yep.
The Bulls beat the Sharks by 1 point. We won the World Cup. 2011, it was the Reds who beat the Crusaders, and New Zealand won the World Cup.
Yep.
2003, the Poms won the World Cup,
Yep.
And it was the Blues versus Crusaders after beating 2 Aussie sides. So does it translate into international success? Perhaps not, but there definitely seems to be some sort of correlation. I think it's perhaps about winning.
Yeah.
2 SS sides in the final in 2007. It gets so it's not the same type of rugby, but perhaps it's about a mindset.
Yeah, confidence.
A confidence thing. Yeah.
Great question there from Dominic Ward. Please keep those questions coming in, guys. Use the hashtag ThinkTank. That's it for this week. Be sure to check out vodacom.co/rugby. The other thing is, guys, if you want to send Tank to Wellington, where the Super Rugby final is probably going to be, please enter that competition on vodacom.co/rugby. We can send the big fella to the other side of the world. Enjoy. Chat to you soon. Ciao.